What's up, world? Let me tell you about this beard growth oil I got from 12 tribes on Earth. 8 ounces of oily goodness with a nozzle that prevents sprays and spills, and soft ingredients that make it perfect addition to anyone's morning routine. From coconut to castor, all these oils are hand chosen. After using this herbal blend, the biggest thing I noticed is how soft, how strong my hair was, and how good I feel. Pick up your bottle today and make your beard the star of the show.
Shalom, family. Good to see everybody here. Hope you're doing well. Huh. Listen, look like America's on fire. At least their warehouses are. Now, they believe a lot of this is arson. Disgruntled employees. Now, there have been 3 in California, and they believe all 3 of them were arson. And when I say these warehouses are gone, y'all, I'm talking about hundreds of millions of dollars in damage. Like the entire warehouse is gone. And employees are doing other things too up in these factories. They're messing up the plumbing on purpose. So it's a lot, and they got to pay, thousands and thousands of dollars to get the plumbing fixed. So it's a lot of things going on. Some of these employees are disgruntled over their treatment. Some feel they're not paid enough for the work they do. And, I'm not surprised. We have been under Gentiles that believe your labor should be free or your labor should be at low wages. This is their entire history, and they're not going to change now. That's why so many people are out here suffering, because the wages have not kept up with the cost of living. Everything is astronomical out here, and the wages are hardly moving because their way of thinking is they shouldn't have to pay you a lot for that labor, or they devalue you. So if you're not satisfied, we'll just get rid of you and bring in a new employee, because they don't value anybody. And as you can see with all the people I've showed you over the last year crying on videos because they are having a hard time making it. The thing is, now they don't care about the white people that are suffering out here. See, before, they never cared about us. So, it's all the same for us. But for them, you can tell by the way they're crying, they're not used to it. They are not used to having wages that don't cover their bills. See, we are used to that. In fact, how many reports over the years have there been, 2 employees doing the same job, but the white employee gets paid more money for doing the same work? We've been dealing with that forever. For us, it's nothing. But for them, this is really devastating. That's why you see so many of them crying, because they can't get jobs anymore. And they used to always be the first one hired, even for jobs they weren't qualified for. They would get grabbed up. But that ain't happening anymore, y'all. It's not happening no more. And their wages, many of them have overextended themselves. That's why they're having a hard time making it. They had 2 and 3 cars, living in this huge house and splurging on all kinds of stuff because they had the money to do so. But now that we live under all of this inflation, they can't do all that stuff no more. Now their income is stretched thin. And many of them, even I've heard on videos and even showed the videos of them saying they're now skipping meals because if they don't skip meals, they can't pay certain bills. They can't pay their mortgage. They can't, you know, take care of their children. So, or they'll make sure their kids eat and they'll skip meals. The parent will skip meals. So life has changed dramatically for them. And I notice more and more videos of them wondering why we seem so unaffected. Because, see, you already put us through all that stuff long before now. We know how to make a meal out of $10. We can put a whole meal on the table and everybody's belly will be full. See, we know what to do. Y'all, on the other hand, you don't know what to do. That's why many of you are out here crying about how much you paid in the grocery store. We don't like the high food prices either, but we know how to make do. We know how to take our dollars and be picky about what we get so that we can feed our families. We've already been on that. That's why you don't see us crying online like y'all. Yeah, there are a few of our people that are on the video saying that, but y'all absolutely outpace us in those videos. Definitely. So we know how to take a little bit of money and make a huge meal out of it, or take a little bit of money and we can make ourselves a big old pot of rice and beans that'll last us for the next few days. We know what to do. Okay, we know what the hell to do. So, all right, let me show you. I'm going to show you something before we get started, and then we will definitely get started. Okay, I have a new twin pack out on Etsy right now. I will also be adding this onto Shopify and TikTok. So it's an emu oil uh, pomade, and the hair growth oil pomade is now in a twin pack, and you can find it out on Etsy. A little later, I will have it on my other two shops, TikTok and Shopify, but it is available right now. And make sure you use the discount codes, the thank you 10 and thank you 15. They do still work. So you can still get a discount even if I don't have a big sale going on. All right. All right, y'all. Please give me a one if you can see my screen. Thank you. Thank you so much, everybody.
A massive fire ripped through a warehouse in California, lighting up the skyline as firefighters battled the blaze for hours overnight. No injuries were immediately reported. The warehouse was filled with paper goods from brands like Kleenex to Huggies nappies, according to local media. A 29-year-old employee was arrested on suspicion of arson in connection with the fire.
Boy, it certainly is, Philip. This fire just erupted, and we don't know what's burning inside this structure quite yet. It comes back at 2420 North Alameda in Compton. Compton Fire, LA County firefighters really just trying to assess what they have right now and see if they can get around this. As you can tell, there's going to be some access issues, and this is really starting to take off. I want to open up just real quick and give you a live shot of this, or a wide shot, I should say. Now, fortunately, most of this smoke is going straight up in the air into the atmosphere. That is great news. Because we don't know what's burning. We don't know if there might be chemicals inside this structure. You just don't know. But this is an industrial area, and this fire is completely consuming at least one portion of that building. And as you can tell, it's going to be an issue to try and get around this and put it out. They're going to surround and drown, if you will. They're just trying to get around the structure and get as much water on it. But access is certainly an issue. It's right off of Alameda to the east side of Alameda. Alameda is really not affected. You can still get by on Alameda, so it's not a traffic issue at the moment. Their sky map gives you a good idea exactly where this fire lays out, but they're really just trying to decide exactly how they're going to try and get a handle on this thing. And Philip and Colleen, as you can tell, it is just taking off right now. It's erupting.
You know, if you're not going to pay us enough to live or afford to live, at least pay us enough not to do this.
29-year-old Kamel Abdul Karim has been charged after allegedly setting fire to a warehouse in Ontario, California, while complaining about low wages. Around 20 employees had to be evacuated before the 175 firefighters rushed to the scene to put out the blaze that destroyed an estimated $156 million worth of stock. The 29-year-old shared several first-person videos in which a man believed to be Abdul Karim could be heard saying,
All you had to do was pay us enough to live. All you had to do was pay us enough to live.
Abdul Karim has since been arrested on multiple felony arson charges and remains in police custody while the investigation continues.
People are getting tired of how these big corporations are treating them, and now they're doing shit to prove a point. In the last week or so, there's been almost 10 incidents where either a warehouse was burned down or a building was burned down. But that ain't it. Now people are putting stores like Walmart and Sam's Club on blast. They're doing things to single-handedly ruin these stores. So now what people are doing is taking spray foam, spraying it in toilets in big corporations. And if you know anything about spray foam, you know what happens when you spray foam in a toilet. Once that foam gets in a pipe, you already know what it's doing. It's hardening it up. And I'm talking about hard as a brick. And how does that affect these big corporations? Well, once you spray foam in a toilet, all those pipes that have anything to do with that toilet hardens up. So what you're going to have to do? Call plumbers. What are they going to have to do? Break down walls, break down concrete. This is a situation that can stop your store from being open. Places like Target, places like Walmart, they're about to be messed up because guess what? People are rebelling because they say they're not getting paid enough. They're saying they're not getting treated right. And the craziest part about everything, they can't even find out who's doing it. It's not like they can monitor everybody that's in the bathroom because you're not supposed to have surveillance in the bathroom. Mind you, the same reason that people were so-called setting these fires, they're saying they're not being treated right either. So what's going on?
You know, if you're not going to pay us enough to live or afford to live, at least pay us enough not to do this.
Okay, so this is mainly California, but there was a fire at a warehouse in New Jersey, and there was one in New York, and they were just a few days apart. And that was just this past week. So they seem to be everywhere. There was one in Chicago, one in Dallas. So they're spread out. But the bulk of them seem to be more on the West Coast. And I can see California, the cost of living there is absolutely insane. But yeah, so a lot of these fires are being done by disgruntled employees.
All you had to do was pay us enough to live. All you had to do was pay us enough to live.
Whatever it is, these big corporations better fix it fast. You know how we feel about Walmart, right? Okay.
A warehouse caught fire today in Compton, California, which is just in LA, basically. As you can see, it's a pretty big fire, and the LA Fire Department was on scene and did put it out, but it did clearly burn quite a bit. This is from KTLA, and they said the crews did extinguish the large commercial fire in Compton on Tuesday morning. It erupted at 11 a.m. You could see a plume of black smoke rising into the sky. And Sky 5, which is the chopper, did show this footage of them trying to put it out. It was a defensive fire, and they were saying that they got lucky because if some metal was burning, which I guess magnesium is in there, That would have created a whole other dynamic to this fire, but they did end up getting it under control. The cause is unknown.
The company Kimberly-Clark just lost $650 million in the Ontario, California warehouse fire. About $500 million in product in the building was estimated to be worth $150 million. As of 2025, Kimberly-Clark employed 38,000 people and took in $16.4 billion in revenue. The average hourly wage of those employees was about $26.75 per hour. Out of that $16.4 billion, $2.7 billion was pure profit. The $650 million lost in the fire represents about 3% of their total revenue and about 25% of their profit. Now, if you divide $650 million by 38,000 employees, Kimberly-Clark could have given each employee a $17,000 per year raise. Of course, no one expects a company to take 25% of their profits and basically give it back to the employees. But if Kimberly-Clark would have at least taken a little bit of that profit and gave their employees a raise, they may not have been in the situation they're in today. $650 million is just up in smoke, literally.
So another accidental warehouse fire just happened, and I just know these employees feel so bad right now. This brings the total up to 5 warehouse fires in less than a week. Worst being this one that was like a toilet paper warehouse where an employee accidentally lit multiple pallets of like toilet paper on fire, totaling something like $650 million worth of damage. Just the paper products alone in that California warehouse fire was $500 million. Honestly, guys, this whole thing is so sad because what on earth are these poor billionaires and like multi-millionaires going to do? Thankfully, some of these fires that were like started on certain levels were put out by the water system. Entire night shifts were canceled. These poor multi-billion-dollar businesses, we're talking about these sweet little companies like Amazon who make on a low side $450,000 per year per employee. You do the math, these little businesses are making over $1,200 a day per employee. Some news outlets are saying the total is up to 6 warehouse fires. Guys, we're talking international. This isn't just happening in the United States. Where it's happening, like at this warehouse in Houston, Texas, it has got to stop. These poor rich people are going to have to spend a lot of money to rebuild. They cannot afford accidents like this to keep happening across the globe. We can't speak about everyone else in the world. Americans right now are feeling so sad for what's happening. Whole thing just breaking everyone's heart for these poor warehouse owners. There could have been a simple way all of this could have been prevented. But until then, we are keeping these uber wealthy people in our prayers.
So there's another warehouse fire in Miami-Dade, Florida at Warehouse Solutions. Now, this is a 6-story warehouse. That's a big fucking warehouse. And it is completely engulfed in flames at this time. These TikTok trends are really strange to me. But yes, another warehouse, I believe that's 7 warehouses in a little over a week, have suddenly spontaneously combusted and caught on fire. We've had Amazon, we've had the toilet paper factory. Yeah, it just keeps happening. I don't know if this is some sort of global movement or something, but just reporting that, yes, there's another one in Miami-Dade, Florida, with pitch black smoke billowing across the state of Florida. Yeah, I wonder if this is going to keep happening.
So apparently that guy that burns down the toilet paper warehouse because they were not paying him a living wage, or anyone a living wage for that matter, who the internet has dubbed Waluigi for Warehouse Luigi, was not the only one with that idea or to execute on it. And I will say I am not 100% sure on the timelines of all of these, but since that one has kind of come out and been making the rounds, I have seen several, like 4 to 5 to 6 more other warehouses that have also burned down or at least been set on fire. At least one of which I am beyond happy to announce was an Amazon warehouse, which is not to say more than one weren't affected. I've seen multiple videos of an Amazon warehouse on fire. I'm just not sure if it was multiple Amazon warehouses on fire or just multiple people recording the same Amazon warehouse that was on fire. Either way, bottom line, people are setting Amazon warehouses on fire.
Police say this massive warehouse fire was allegedly the work of a disgruntled employee. Stunning new video appears to show the start of the fire. In the footage posted to social media, you hear someone say all you had to do was pay us enough to live, as stacks of toilet paper burn.
All you had to do was pay us enough to live. There goes your inventory.
Last night, police announced the arrest of Chamil Abdul Karim on suspicion of multiple felony arson-related charges, adding the 29-year-old is an employee of NFI Industries, a third-party distributor for Kimberly-Clark, the company known for manufacturing paper-based personal care and hygiene products.
The news that the media is not telling us right now is that there have been almost 11 warehouse fires in the last 3 days, with all of them having something to do with an employee that first started in California when he said, all you had to do was pay us enough to live. This revolt and revolution is starting, and it's going to be crazy. Not only that, Sam Altman's home was attacked for the second time in 3 days. They're going after Mr. Altman and OpenAI as well. Baby, listen, people not playing. They're not playing about their money. They're not playing about their time. And they're not playing about revolting against what's going on in this country. If they ever wanted to start a civil war, they're creating the right atmosphere to do just that. Because these warehouse fires are crazy. They're literally burning everything. Everything. That's crazy. These fires have been in Ohio, California, New York, near Miami Gardens. Like, these fires are literally everywhere. A lot of them are Amazon warehouses too. So fuck. I hope none of them had damn warehouses from Amazon and get none of my shit that I ordered. That's gonna piss me off.
All you had to do was pay us enough to live. All you had to do was pay us enough to fucking live. All you had to do was pay us enough to live.
Do you hear the people sing?
Richard Copeland, I saw what you wrote. You said 11. I thought it was just 3. No, 3 were in California, but there were others throughout the country. I don't know if you were in here, but I said there was one in New Jersey, one in New York, one in Dallas, one in Miami, and I believe there was one in Chicago, but they are all throughout the country. But 3 were in California. The majority of these companies are the warehouses that burned are Amazon. So, and they believe most of these fires are arson. All right. Disgruntled employees, people that are mad at the company, and some are really, some of these employees are messing up the plumbing, causing them to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to get the plumbing fixed. So it's a lot going on out here, and they're not putting this out in the news at all. So here's Atlanta. Let's go back to this one.
Singing the song of angry men. It is the music of a people who will not be slaves again.
Breaking news right now out of Miami Gardens.
Of your heart echoes the beating of the drums. There is a life about to start when tomorrow comes.
Warehouse fire for Tuesday.
Crusade, we will be strong and stand with me. Beyond the barricade, is there a world you long to see? Then join in the fight that will give you the right to be free. Do you hear the people sing? Sing the song of angry men. It is the music of the people who will not be slaves again.
We're officially up up to 7 different warehouse storefront fires that have happened in the last 3 days, including the fire that started all the fires, the one that happened in Ontario, California with the toilet paper storage facility. Based on all of my comments and my research online, based on what people are telling me and from what I can see, the ones that I can corroborate right now was that last one was Ohio in a lumber yard. And then we had the Ohio Amazon, which was apparently due to the solar panels, we'll say. And then we have one in the Queens, New York one, which was lumber as well. New Jersey was a chemical warehouse. Georgia was a commercial structure. And then lastly, the one that y'all been tagging me in is the California jean store, which spread throughout the mall from what I can hear and have seen online. So that is a total of 7 since our original Luigi man set fire to the toilet paper facility, that one. So that's where we are right now, a total of 7 in about 3-4 days of warehouse storefront fires throughout the United States. Now, we don't know about all of them, but these are the ones that are on the radar right now. So if there's more out there, let me know, but we're up to 7 now, guys.
Oh, yeah, y'all. It is crazy out here. So you can see it's a lot of angry people. They think that there's going to be some race war or some civil war. Nah, you know what's going to get a war jumped off? Keep messing with people's money and their livelihood. You'll get the war you're looking for. Okay? Keep messing with people's livelihood and mess with their money. All right. That's what will get your war jumped off. All these other reasons y'all put out here. Oh, a race war. Oh, a civil war. Oh, no. Keep messing with everybody's money. You're going to see a massive war out in your streets. So, anyway, y'all, you can see there's a lot of people on these jobs that are very unhappy. They are not happy with their life. They are not happy with the amount of time they got to put into work and still can't make ends meet. And it's all coming out. This thing with the warehouses burning up all over the place is the end result of people that are tired of being stepped on and not making it out here. So it is what it is. RLI, thank you so much for the super chat. I deeply appreciate your support. We going to all be comfortable, or we going to all be uncomfortable. There you have it. That's a mic drop right there. Thank you so much for your support. So, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and conclude. I do have another live that I have to get together. So just be on the lookout for that and have a wonderful, wonderful afternoon. Shalom, family.